What is up, beautiful people? I hope that you guys are just as excited as I am to be back again for another video. So today we're going to be talking about 3 things that you can do, easy practices and techniques that you can apply today to ultimately raise your vibrational frequency. So before we dive into today's framework, I would like to take a moment to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, click the little notification bell so you are alerted whenever we post any new updates. And also, if you're interested in actually being interviewed as a part of our community project of giving our people a voice, please fill out the form. Again, you can find that in the description box down below, as with all of the other information that you will need in order to work with me. If you're interested in reading the ebook, link is also in the bio. That's where everything is. Okay, so let's get into this. Before we dive into the framework, I would like to share with you guys a little bit of who I am and how I actually came to learn about vibrational frequency. And I'm going to explain this in the simplest terms that I know possible by taking you back to when this first came into my life. So when I was 15 years old, my mother had moved me and my sisters out of our family home. My parents were getting a divorce. It was very catastrophic for me, emotionally speaking. It was probably one of the lowest periods in my entire childhood or time at home with my parents. It literally felt like going through the death of my family. And I remember going to bed every single night in this apartment, away from my home, away from my dad. My whole life had just changed, and I was so depressed, and I was also really mad. In a way that I found to express, an outlet that I had was actually journaling. But instead of journaling about how great and wonderful life was, I was journaling about how horrible I felt and about how horrible my life was and about how mad I was at my mom. Can anyone relate to that? Where you're just so upset and you just want to keep this cycle going. You want to continue to ruminate and marinate and get angry over something that's already happened. It got so bad that if I hadn't cried before I went to bed, I would pull out a picture, the last family photo that we had taken as a family, and I would look at it and I would remember how mad I was, and I would remember how sad I was, and I would just ruminate and ruminate and ruminate. And this is how I went to bed almost every single night my freshman year of high school. Now, this was not good for my mental health, and I realized really fast that I was extremely unhappy and I wanted a different solution. So one day I actually decided to call my father and I said, "Hey, Dad, can I actually move in with you?" My mom and I at that time were just butting heads. It was not the right situation for me to be evolving and to be growing into who it was that I was as an individual. I felt too much suppression, so I had to get out of that situation. My dad came over, helped me pack up all my stuff, and before my mom came home from work, I was already completely moved out. So the reason I tell you guys this story is because this is what life looked like before I was aware of vibrational frequency. Yes, at age 15. And once I changed my environment and I moved in with my dad, I felt so much more free. I had sacrificed my relationship with my mother upon deciding to move back into my dad's home, but that was okay. Again, I was like, this is just how it is. This is what I need to do. And I came back to my writing practice. And I remember thinking, everything that I was writing seemed to have come true. I was pretty depressed, I was pretty upset, I was pretty angry, life just seemed horrible. And I thought to myself, what would happen if I started writing in a way that would portray what it was that I did want? And so I was like, well, I have to experiment. So I started writing what I now know to be affirmations. I am beautiful, I am confident, I am courageous, I am strong, I am successful, I am kind. All of the things that I desired to be. And I remember clear as day coming back to my journal about 2 weeks after having done this, and I realized that my whole life was changing. For the first time in my life, I saw the coordination between my thoughts and what was actually playing out in my physical environment. Okay, bringing this back to vibration. The first step to raising our vibrational frequency is becoming aware of where we are. You see, where we're residing vibrationally all becomes a choice when we are aware of where we are at. In my case, I realized upon moving into my dad's house that I was on a pretty low vibration. I didn't feel very good. I didn't call it vibration then, but I knew I didn't feel good. And I wanted more. I wanted to feel alive. And so I chose to start thinking thoughts that would align me with this newfound frequency. So step number 1 is becoming aware, not only of where we are, but where we want to go, right? I know for me, if I become aware of everything I don't like in my current realm, but I'm not projecting myself out into the future, asking myself, well, where do I want to go with this? I am probably not going to make any change, and I'm probably not going to feel the greatest. I'm going to be in this cycle of ruminating over that in which I do not want. However, if I take a moment to ask myself, what are my needs? What is it that I actually want? Where do I want to go? Right? And I start doing that. I start saying, okay, mentally speaking, not even physically, mentally speaking, I am going to move in the direction of that in which I want. Things start to change for me in my life. Step number 2 is change the environment. Once you are aware of where you're at, you'll also start to notice the things, the people, the places that are not serving where you want to go. For me at age 15, this was a necessary part of my journey. I wish it wouldn't have had to happen like that, but everything happens exactly as it's meant to. I needed to move away from my mother's dwelling and move in with my dad, for me to come back home into me and for me to experience who it was that I was, for me to then take the reins back of my own life. So if we have somebody in our life who is making us feel constricted and making us feel like we are stuck where we are, that we can bring in the terms narcissist, right? Energetic manipulators, people who are literally keeping us on a low vibration. The step out of that is becoming aware. Unfortunately, most people are not aware of their behaviors. My mother wasn't. In her case, she's not like I'm out front narcissist, I'm trying to destroy you. I would say she was more so a covert narcissist, right? But I needed to get out from that energy in order to figure out who I was so I could take those steps to ultimately raise my vibrational frequency, okay? So when we're talking about frequency and vibration, everything is frequency and everything is vibration. Everything is energy, right? We are energy. We are energy. So to raise our vibration, we become aware of what we actually are, and that gives us the ability to then choose where we are going to reside along the vibrational frequency. The third thing that we need to do in order to raise our vibrational frequency is shift our mindset. In order for the energy to go where we want it to go, we have to be thinking the thoughts of where we want it to go. Energy follows our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are basically like us throwing darts out into the universe in regards to where we want to go. We're saying, universe, I want to go that way. I want to go up towards love. I want to go up towards gratitude. I want to go up towards appreciation. Or we're saying, I want to go down towards fear. I want to go down towards anger, towards neglect, towards pain, towards suffering. And oftentimes we're doing this unconsciously, which is why we have to develop some sort of daily practice of tuning in and checking in with ourselves, checking in with where we are and where we want to go. So this is very basic. This is just the basics, basic framework for you to take those initial next steps and raising your vibrational frequency. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see on the channel, and we will make sure it happens. I love you guys. Stay blessed. We'll talk soon.